welcome to another episode of Wisdom on the Front Porch. And today we're going to speak with Janice, and I am so glad you're here, Janice. I've recently met her, wonderful, wonderful woman. She's got a lot of great ways for women to showcase themselves, I guess is a way to put it, in their business or whatever. But just I'm going to let you introduce yourself a little bit. Just give them a brief of who you are and why you do what you do.
Hi. Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad that we were able to set up time to do this. And so, what I work with women over 50 who want to work from home. They have a corporate job. They've been in a business for a long time, and they have a skill set that they could create a business online. So I help them to gain clarity and direction how they can optimize that expertise online. And it's also another way to be able to supplement your Social Security. And so why I just chose this was because for myself, when I was 50 years old, I realized when I got laid off after working with a construction company for 20 years as a project coordinator, I got the tap on the shoulder at 50 and I thought, I do not want to look for another job. I need to figure out how I can create a business for myself and be able to help other people create a business for themselves online, because it was just that was the way things were going. People were creating a business online and working from home. And I just wanted to be able to help them and support them with doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that's good. And I love that. You have two different things going on, kind of. I can see how they go together. You work with women over 50 to help establish an online presence, and you can already be established in your business as an entrepreneur, but you help get that presence out there, which sometimes is the hardest thing to do. We either know marketing or we don't know marketing, and we don't know how to get our content and other things like that out there. But you also have with financial part of it that maybe we at the retirement age, we've got our social security checks and it's not that much coming in. And I think we were talking, you said it's somewhere between 4,500 and 7,000 that we need every
That's
month to
that's
live.
what
I mean, that's crazy. Um, yeah, just, we
especially
were talking about prices going up and how much everything has increased even just in the last 2 years, and what is the future going to hold for. So it's great that you can be able to show us a way to take care of that. I love that.
yeah.
And for those who are wondering why I keep looking down here, I am taking notes myself because Red Skelton used to say, people asked him why he laughed at his own jokes, and he said, why should I be the only one not to get it?
Yeah, not to
And,
get it. Yeah.
and that's the way I'm writing. It's, I'm taking notes for myself too. Um, but this is wonderful. I love what you said. You didn't want to get laid off again, or, I've talked with so many people and they either didn't want to get laid off from their job again. They didn't want to have to rely on somebody else for their income. And I think that makes a big difference because one, it gives us a way to breathe, to know that we only have us to rely on, and that if something happens with our business or whatever, we know we can still go do it again because we've already done it once. I remember Grant Cardone was talking about where they put him on this TV show and they gave him $0. He had nothing. He had to go make, his fortune within a month. And it was really hard for him. He missed his kids. He'd never really been away from his family like that. And the first week he was like, I haven't made anything. What am I going to do? And then all of a sudden it's like he made up his mind. And this is my input on this. This is not him saying this. But from what I heard from him talking, it was like he made up his mind that, you know what? I need to go do something. I'm not going to stay like this. And I know I'm smart. I know I can do things. And so he went out and he started doing what he does. And by the end of the show, he had definitely made enough money. And that's actually pretty encouraging. Not that I'm promoting any one person or another, but that's a pretty incredible story, that he went a whole week before he really got active in it. That kind of surprised me.
Well, it takes courage, to put
Yeah,
yourself out there to do something that you're not familiar with. And I also think that the other mindset is that when you're an employee, you're making money. When you are working for
yeah.
yourself, you're creating money. So you have to figure out ways to create money.
I like that. Creating
Yeah.
versus making. And
And there's so
one
many
thing I,
ways.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
There's so many different ways to create money that it's an expertise that you may not know, and you want to create a something that you are naturally good at. So if you are not naturally good at writing, then you wouldn't want to force yourself to be writing articles and
Yeah.
blogs and social media, because that's not something that you're naturally good at. This is where it would be better to share your ideas with a copywriter. I'm not a copywriter, but that would be one way. For some people, they may think, oh, I can't write, so I don't want to do that. But you'll have something else that you're naturally good at that you can
Hmm.
bring out and sell your expertise or create money with your
Yeah.
expertise. Yeah.
And the great thing
So,
about it too is even if you're not very good at something right now, you can learn and you can practice and you can get better. And I think because as we get older, compared to when we're 19 or 20, is we know how to make better use of our time to do these things, and we know how to learn in a different way now. And their drive is different. I mean, you've got a great drive in your 20s and in your 30s and even in your 40s, you're going after it. But that doesn't mean that I don't really quite know what I'm saying, but it's like,
well, you're not ready to turn the light off.
yeah, I think that's
Keep
it
going.
too. Yeah. And yeah, so yeah, I kind of went off on a rabbit hole there. Just, I tell you, I have to excuse my audience. Excuse myself, my audience. I am so sorry. Janice and I got to talking, and I've just got all of these ideas going around. That's just how great she is. She just mentioned a couple of things, and it's like, wow, my mind is just on fire now. So I thank you for that. But somehow I'm having a hard time reeling it back in for this.
Yeah.
So I do have a question.
Well,
We'll
I
talk a
am
little.
bad about that.
That's all
I'll
right. No,
inject an
that's good.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's
Good or
really
bad.
great
Yeah.
because we need those ideas. So you work with women over 50 to establish an online presence. Can you kind of give us a little examples of maybe what that means? I mean, most people, 2 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing. Absolutely no idea. I didn't even know this world existed. I wasn't a writer at the time or anything like that. I think that's where I was going through before. It's like no matter you may not know what you're doing now, but you can learn to do something and you can be really great at it. Um, but now here I am. I'm out here. I'm starting to make a presence. What are some suggestions you have for women who haven't got a presence on the online world yet? Maybe they have their own entrepreneurship, but um, this is a whole different world being in online business.
It's different for everyone. So, what I like to do when I meet with a client is I go through, before we even have a conversation, I will analyze how they present themselves on the website, if they have a website, how on social media that they present themselves. Do they talk about their services? Do they talk about, do they have a bio that is on the website? Meaning not a bio, because keep in mind on social media, you only have a short line to say, I help blank, blank do solve one situation. So one situation for one problem. I don't know if that makes sense, but what I'm trying to say is you want to present yourself in the way that you're not overcomplicating what you do to help people.
Right, right.
So, and you want to add a little bit more about you and who you are, and so they can get to know you and build a trust and get to feel like they are comfortable or that you're approachable. So, but with every client, it's a different strategy of how they build their online presence, because one person may want to do a podcast like you are doing. But for another one, they'll say no. So we have to look at a different way that they're going to build their audience. And the other
Yeah.
thing is you're not building an audience. Everybody thinks that, not everybody, but for a while now, people think they need to have 1,000, and you really only need to have 10 to 100 true fans
Oh, okay.
to grow your business.
Oh, wow.
Mhm,
Wow.
mhm.
That's good to know. Yeah, I had
Because,
no
well, here's
idea.
a perfect example. I have a client that was saying so and so is doing so good. They have 100,000 followers on Instagram, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but she seems like she's so successful. So what we did was we did an audit, and you can do an audit like an SEO audit, analysis of the website, how much traffic is going to their website, what pages that they're visiting. And to come to find out, it was really, really poor. Her Instagram was high, but they were people from all parts of the world. Those people that are all parts of the world really can't see her because she's a local office. So it's a local
Oh,
business.
yeah.
So she was attracting clients from parts that she can't serve,
Oh,
because it
okay.
was a local wellness, health and wellness type business. And so, yes, she was doing good on social media, but it wasn't attracting clients to go to the website in order to book
Right.
appointments with her office. So once I had shared that actually your website doing great, the client that I was doing the audit, I said, you look how much traffic you have. There's people coming to this page, and there's just a huge difference. So for her, social media is not her priority on attracting clients. It's more about getting the client to a website. And so we're
Okay.
doing content marketing. So blog, Google My Business post, um, Google Ads, and
Okay.
she doesn't want to do social media. So she's able to grow her business without social media. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that
So,
sounds good. Because, yeah, social media can just be so frustrating sometimes, especially when the different sites keep changing their algorithms. And now there are so many sites out there. It's like, how do you know which is the one for you? So that's why we come to you to find all of that out.
and which is a fit for you, for that person. I do
Yeah.
still think that if she could post a couple of times a month, I still feel like you want to keep a presence on social media,
Right.
just not, every day or 3 times a week. Even if it's 3 times a week, it's good. But for her, if she could post a couple of times a month, that would still present a presence that, because people do check you out on social
Yeah.
media because they want to know, okay, I want to know that personality. I want to know who that person is that I'm going to go visit at their office.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's true. That's true. We do that. You had mentioned about doing, in the bio to put a little bit about personal in there. Before the show, we talked a little bit, and you said you went selling for 7 years. I'd like to hear a little more about that.
well, we actually planned for 10 years before we actually made it happen. So there was a lot, just like in
Wow.
business, you want to learn all the different angles of having a business online. But for going off and sailing around the world, there was a lot to learn, such as navigation, how to do sail repairs, how to
Oh, yeah.
survive at sea. So, but we had this dream for quite some time, and then the business that we had then we were able to sell, and that helped us on creating a sabbatical for 7 years. And while sailing, we sailed all the different ports in Mexico, Costa Rica. We ended up staying for 3 years. We didn't keep going, um, so we stayed there. And but in that journey, there was a lot of other entrepreneurs that I was meeting, and that's when I realized, wow, they're living on their boat and they're sailing these different ports, and they can still have a business from anywhere. So I actually, when we came back cruising, I had actually in my mind was percolating, what can I do? I was an employee working for a home builder, but I wanted to know, how can I create a business for myself? And it just didn't happen until I got the nudge. Sorry, but you have 30 minutes to pack up your bag and
Wow.
you're out the door. And I was very emotional. But at that point, my brain was saying, okay, this is not the end. Just figure out how you can make a business online. And that was when I decided digital marketing. I'm really more of a techie type person.
Hmm.
So I just went in the techie part of doing website marketing funnels, email marketing. I just naturally gravitate to doing the tech part component. And
Wow.
so, yeah, so I think when you get that nudge that, maybe there's something else, have a conversation. I'd love to have a conversation with anyone that would be interested, and then let's just brainstorm. What would that look like for you?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I have a question. So your online business, it's changing all the time. You have appointments, you've got clients. How do you nurture your relationships for your business and for your clients?
And that's a good question. So, and because how does that look? For me, I think it's when I'm having a Zoom call. I
Yeah.
have I'm not on the phone. I'm not doing email communications. I meet with all my clients by Zoom. And so just like this right here, right now, that would be how I would have a conversation. Most of my clients are coming in, they have something that they need help with, and and then they just know I'm there and reliable and trustworthy that they can come back. She'll be there. And so as far as the nurturing in that way, I don't connect other than the times that they need help. I do have a weekly newsletter that goes out. So that weekly
Okay.
newsletter, I'm able to talk to them in that way. And that's how I can keep on top of their mind. Yeah, yeah, she told me about this. Okay, you know what? That I need her help on that. So something like that. The newsletter is very important.
Oh, wow, that sounds really great. I've got one, but I don't put it out very often because I'm still learning what goes in a newsletter because I don't want to just give them something. I want to give them something that's going to have meaning to them. So when they see it, they go, "Oh, wow, I got my newsletter from L.S. Kirkpatrick. So what's going on in the world, today?" And I want it to mean something, but I wonder if maybe I should send it out more often because you're
Once a week.
lucky if you're lucky if it goes out 6 times a year right now. It's
Once
like
it's recommended once a week, but if you did twice a
once a
month,
week.
and it could be 5 lines. I mean, it doesn't
Oh,
have to be. Newsletters getting shorter. They recommend 200 words or less.
oh
And
wow.
you can actually put in there, for example, you could put a link of your podcast, or if there's a book that you really liked and you're wanting to recommend this to your list, you could put a link to the book and then explain why that book you found to be very valuable and would be valuable to your audience.
Okay.
I mean, there's so much that you can talk about in your newsletter.
Yeah,
There
there
really
is.
is.
There is. And
You can even
I just
talk
want to
about
make sure.
your
Go ahead.
Well, you can talk about your experience, this the steam trunk, and how
Oh
that
yeah.
you could weave a story with that.
So what we're talking about is our my husband and I had moved from Oregon to Idaho, and we were going to build our own house. Well, one thing or another happened, and it's been 6.5 years that everything has been stored. And I had some steamer trunks that I had certain things in, more personal, family history and things like that, things with my grandkids, and had those packed in there. So we're talking about the unpacking of those. And yeah, I never thought about it. Maybe I should be doing something about that because it's, with everybody moving and packing and whatnot, it's quite an experience. Unpacking something that's been capsulized for 7 years almost. But yeah,
Take
that's
take
really great.
yeah, take a picture of the trunk so they get a visual because I've
Yeah, I'm
already
doing that for my
visualizing it.
kids already, so I've already got all the materials for it. So I'll take a
Yeah,
picture of it, which trunk do you want? And then I'll take a picture because I'm saving four of the trunks. I think I have 12, but I'm saving four of them for the kids. And then I'll put in the mementos, but not just the mementos. I'll put in the reason where it came from, what it means, because some of it is stuff from my grandparents. So it's things that have been handed down from generation to generation. So I want to tell the stories that go with it, why it was kept, what's the significance of it. And then I want to put why I'm giving it to them. Now, what I've done right now is I've found
that's
some
a,
jewelry and some other things. I found these earrings that my mom wore. And my mom was a really beautiful woman, and when she wore these, she only wore 'em for special occasions, and she'd put them on. Now, the earrings did not make my mom look beautiful. My mom made the earrings look beautiful. And I tell
Aw,
this story to my granddaughter, and I said, somewhere I've got the necklace to go with it. Well, I found the necklace 2 days later going through, and I don't know why they were separate. So I ended up putting that in there with it. But I told her the story. I said, why I wanted her to have it out of all the grandkids. I have 15, so I have to sort things out. And I put what it meant to me. I told who my mom was, which is her grandmother, because she's 7 right now. So she's still learning, the
oh,
hierarchy of it. And I don't know how long I've got. I don't know if I've got, if today's my last day or 20 years from now or 30 years from now. I have an aunt who's 98 years old who passed this year. But I've got an uncle who passed before I think he was like 42. So you just never know when your time is. And so I want to be sure and do everything that I can now. This is actually the perfect time to do things like this because I'm unpacking it, sorting it, and I don't want to take my time doing it, but I'm not going to rush through it because one is emotionally just
hard.
draining. That energy it takes to go through this, to open these time capsules is just crazy. Okay, but this podcast is not about this. I guess I need to do a show about that. Maybe I'll have you help me with it, Janice.
Oh, yeah,
But
definitely. I
but
mean, just
yeah,
think about that. I mean, think about the fact, but while it's fresh in your mind, because that you have 10 stories right here, but the fresh
yeah,
in your mind is just to do, what do you do with the stuff that you want to give to your kid?
yeah,
What do you do with the stuff? And then just kind of give some key points of what you found that made the process easy for you.
absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
this is what I'm doing. I'm putting them all into a steam truck or trunk. Is that
Mhm.
what you call it? Which
Yeah,
I think
for
that
like
sounds
on the
exotic.
old steamers. Yeah.
That sounds exotic. And then just keep it very simple. And,
Yeah.
it could be part two, part three. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
I'm,
it's when you go, you don't have a choice as to who does what or who gets what. And if you don't tell them the significance of it, they don't know what it is. So a lot of things get tossed out. A lot of things that they don't know is important to their family history, to know who they are. Because finding out who your ancestors are really helps you know who you are and why things are the way they are. It's just, I did almost 50 years of genealogy, still into it. And it's just amazing how people, when they find out something about their history, it changes them. It gives them a confidence. It gives them a significance that they didn't have before. And it's just really incredible to do that. All right.
you
Let's
should
go back
write
to you,
that
Janice.
down.
Uh,
Yeah, I just want to say
I
something.
will.
I
All right.
found
Yeah.
recently a
All right.
book, 1974, a book from 1974. It is all typed. And my
Oh,
grandmother at
wow.
74 wrote about going back, like what you were saying, but they actually wrote it out about how they did the covered wagons and how
Oh,
they
nice.
met Wyatt Earp and
Really?
and then one
Wow.
of them had actually shook the hand of Abraham Lincoln. I didn't even know that. It was just like I went,
Wow.
oh, so yeah,
That's
writing. It's
awesome.
about maybe 50 pages front and back,
Oh, but that's
typewritten
so amazing.
with the pictures. Those old pictures that they had in those days. So yeah, they'll appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. And you think, I think we've got a whole shipping container. You go buy those shipping containers
Oh my
to do
gosh.
different things with. People build houses out of them and other things. And we've got one that's just filled with boxes. Well, not too long before we left, my mother passed away. But a few years before that, my dad did. So my mom was cleaning house at that time. And it's like, and I realize how much I've got. So when my kids get here, they're going to be overwhelmed. I don't want them to be overwhelmed. Or if you've lived in your house all of your life, I mean, we've lived in that farmhouse we were in for, gosh, I think over 12, 15 years. and things were getting, you don't realize how much you accumulate until you start going through it. And then it's like, we finally sold it. So I had to hurry up and get everything packed.
Oh,
And it was just kind of cramming everything in boxes and then putting them in. It's like, okay, I'll just go through it when we unpack. Well, we're in a
you
much
always,
smaller house. We went to a house about half the size of what it was. And it's like, I don't know where to put anything. So that's another choice. It's like I really have to go through and see, is this something I absolutely need? But what I do need is to get back on topic and talk about what you do for women. Oh man, you're giving me so many great ideas for my business because I have a few things that I'm doing, even though they kind of go together. Um, the writing brought me to podcasting. And I love the podcasting. I have a podcast where you can talk about your book and what went on behind it, and why you got the idea. I have a podcast for that. It's 52 plus new books is what it's called. And
oh,
then, I have this one, Wisdom on the Front Porch. This goes with a magazine, which I love doing. I love formatting books. I like setting this up. Everyone has such great information to go into it. And so that goes with the podcasting and writing too. Um, and then I teach about podcasting, I teach about writing, so I have the courses that go on with that. And then I have something that I do that's very different from all of that. I have what's called the 12-minute refresh, and I just have it on Spotify. And so, I have the intro to get you into it, get you relaxed, get you settled down. Then I do the little 12-minute or it's between 6 to 9 minute talk in it. And then I have the extra to help get you ready to get back to the rest of your day. In fact, it may put you to sleep. Which is
so
fine.
that,
If you need to rest, maybe you want to do this at night. Don't do it while you're driving your car. Or heavy
right,
machinery.
right.
Maybe we should put a warning disclaimer at the first. Do not operate home heavy machinery with this podcast. But it's just taking a few Bible verses and talking about how to refresh yourself and get going for the day. So I love to keep busy. I just can't not do anything, and I'm learning to paint. I'm painting a, a picture, I guess is what you call it, of a longhorn cow that's got flowers and stuff hanging from its
Oh, how
horns and
pretty.
seeing some grass and then I'll put that up to the local, they do the Longhorn place, sorry, the Longhorn Association has a fundraiser every year for the nonprofits and everything. And so, I'll put that in with the auction. So I really want to take my time with it because usually when I draw, it's like a kindergartner drawing. And it's like, all right, so I'm learning a few tricks along the way. And on the podcast I had just before this one, Value in You podcast, I think I talk about a little bit, but I did do, in fact, it's still on my website. I have a free area. There's PDFs and all kinds of tools that are there, but I also have how to do artwork and talks about putting everything in little squares and doing just one piece at a time. And I think that's with our business too. We need to look at it, just do one thing at a time, then go to the next one, and then go to the next one. You keep building upon it. Um, what are your thoughts on that one? And I know we
Well,
don't have much time here, but
I
I
think
do want to hear that.
I'd like to look at it as art therapy. So that is one of my art therapy pieces. And I have a couple
I
more
love
that are at
it.
the top. So pretty much art therapy. Um, it's just a time to free your mind of anything other than just
Yeah.
creativity. It's just so from it was the pour painting where you kind of combine all the paint and then you just pour it on the canvas and every time
Oh, neat.
it's a different look. But
Yeah.
COVID hit, and so the paint party stopped. But
Right.
I love those. So I still try to find time for art therapy because I think it's therapeutic, and you don't have to be good at it. You just have to be able to just take the time to have some creativity on, even if it's hand sketching or painting,
Yeah.
or I don't know if doing digital, like if you're creating a video, I think it needs to be something you touch kind of
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah, I get that tactile.
I mean,
Feel
I guess
yeah,
AI, doing AI photos would be creative, but yeah.
yeah. Oh, there's so many different ways to do something. Janice, I enjoy talking with you. Love our time together. This has gone way, way too fast. I'm gonna have you come back so we can learn more about your business, and I need to learn to just zip it and let you talk.
No, it
But
was fun. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for being here. How do people get a hold of you?
You can go to my website, Janice Hurlburt. The name is right there at the bottom of the Zoom screen. So janethurlburt.com. Same thing on social media. I'm found on Instagram. I have a Substack channel, charting a course where I talked about my seafaring days and some digital marketing. So that's been fun. So
Nice,
that's where you can find
nice.
me. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, my audience, for being here. And remember, your front porch is wherever you gain wisdom and knowledge and give value. And remember, the value never runs out. It's your value. It never runs out, even when you give it away. We'll see you next time on Wisdom on the Front Porch.
Thank you for joining us today on Wisdom on the Front Porch with your host, Ellis Kirkpatrick. You can find us on our website, wisdomonthefrontporch.com, see previous episodes of the podcast, and view issues of the magazine. Did you know you can submit questions, leave reviews, or suggest topics? You can also tell us where your favorite front porch location is and what it means to you. We hope you gain value and insight from today's or previous talks. We appreciate your support for us so we can continue to provide value and expertise to you and others. Subscribe to Wisdom on the Front Porch magazine and join in next week when we bring you another great insight into the world of entrepreneur culture and lifestyle. Make today a great day. Always believe that something wonderful is going to happen.